All right, well, here's what we can help me with this, and maybe this is where you can help me, James, because the company seems to be saying right now that that this was something they thought long and hard over here, and that they didn't want to treat you unfairly, but they felt your comments left them no other choice. Quoting, and this is coming from the company today because we asked for a statement, that their HR manager saying that I want to make clear that our decision is based solely on the part of your post that generalizes and advances stereotypes about women versus men. It's not based in any way on the portions of your post that discuss the employee's programs or trainings. That again and again, when you differentiated between the capacity of men or women to handle the job, that's where you crossed a line. What do you say to that?
They really didn't think long and hard about this. After it went viral, they fired me the Monday right after that. And yeah, I repeat over and over in the document that we shouldn't stereotype people and that there's large distributions, but this is really important in just figuring out why we see certain trends. And
when you say why you see certain trends, just to be clear on this, if women want to understand why there's such a small percent of that workforce, and not only at Google, across the whole tech industry, and you cite some of these reasons, whether it's a temperament issue, whether it's just a biological issue, you could see how a company would respond to say, is this your thinking, that it's addressing other workers there? It says, is this your thinking, Google, that you agree with this?
I think Google can have their own opinion on this, but I think that this is well-founded psychological research, and it really should be used if we want to improve the workplace.
So to address that, how would the numbers improve for more females in your industry at that former company and elsewhere across Silicon Valley?
If they use this and actually take advantage of it, then we can really make tech a more appealing place for women.
All right, but it isn't right now. And is it your sense that it should be equal? You should have the equal number of men and women, or is it just the nature of the beast that in this area it's going to be disproportionately men?
I think maybe it won't necessarily be equal number, but that doesn't mean that it should be built solely for men, and it should be welcoming both to men and women.
So when you're hearing this, Harmeet, I mean, as a woman, other women took offense to that. Not all. I want to stress, not all. Do you?
Not at all, Neil. I'm not threatened by different viewpoints being discussed. It seems like today everybody's a snowflake and can't hear a different viewpoint. I think that, women should be free to make their own choices, and that's what they're doing here. And there was an interesting, some discussions came out over the weekend. Some studies have shown that in countries where women actually have more choices, like the United States, there are fewer women in tech. Women have a lot of different choices in this country, whereas in some more repressive countries, which are more limited, a lot of Middle Eastern and even where I come from in India, women have very much fewer choices in the career workplace, and so they're limited to certain respectable occupations. And so what James was trying to do in his memo is point out how Google could do a better job of attracting women and make it more attractive to women, not by using quotas and by shaming and degrading men and booing them at company-wide meetings, which has been done by female executives at Google, but rather follow the law and make it more attractive. And that's a market-based solution. I think those of us who are more conservative believe in market-based solutions. Google is failing in the marketplace of being attractive to women. Google should be welcoming to opportunities to change for the better.
This is not a political matter to them. And then just quoting from their statement here to me, and James, I want you to answer to this. They argue again and again in the statement that this had nothing to do with your political viewpoints, saying having a different political view is absolutely fine. Advancing gender stereotypes is not. Your reaction?
They can claim that it wasn't about politics, but we see time and again that they make politically motivated actions, and this wasn't an isolated incident.
When you say not an isolated incident, now we're told that in Silicon Valley and in the high-tech world in general, that to mention even the president's name or Republicans in general is verboten. It's a career risk. Was it? Is it?
Yes, that's the general sentiment. You don't know anyone that voted for Trump because no one is willing to admit that they did. And it's really unfortunate that people can't bring their whole selves to work.
Were there quiet, closet Trump voters who just were cheering you on?
Yes, there were many people that showed their support privately, but told me that they really weren't willing to show any public support because they too feared that they would get fired.
Was it your view after all of this, where they say your views, particularly regarding women, were an anathema to the company, that you were almost treated as some sort of a right-wing kook? Did that bother you?
Yes, they definitely tried to smear me as some misogynist, racist, crazy person. And I was really just trying to improve the workplace. So it's really unfortunate. I felt betrayed by them.
So what do you do
Neil,
now?
if I could,
What do you guys do now? I know you separately, this NLRB thing is one issue, but where do you go? Where do you go with this now, Harmeet?
We have this lawsuit pending, and we have been contacted by literally dozens and dozens of people. It's like overwhelming number of people calling our office wanting to join the lawsuit. People who didn't get jobs at Google, and they believe it's on the basis of their gender, race, or political orientation, and people who are discriminated against, terminated, or otherwise.
How would their political, affiliations come up? I guess if you're Google, you know.
You would Google them, obviously.
Right.
It does come up in interviews, and it does come up. It's readily available to people, and we have numerous examples of people who have been stopped during the interview process because of their background and their viewpoint. And so this is a pervasive problem. I mean, Google is definitely the worst offender, but there are other companies in Silicon Valley with similar issues.
But if you went to a left-wing rally, or let's say you went to a Hillary Clinton rally, or whatever, a Free the Internet rally, or whatever is big, you would not be held accountable for that, or you would not be punished for that. Is that what you're saying, Jane?
To the contrary, you would actually be welcomed more because it is a social justice warrior dominated workplace at Google.
James, is it a good company? Do you think Google is a good company?
And they make good products, but I think it's becoming more and more hostile to work there if you have conservative viewpoints.
What if you're a woman? Is it a hostile work environment?
I think it's actually very welcoming to women. And it's not this tech bro culture that people make Silicon Valley out to be.
All right, very interesting, guys. Keep us posted on this startling story.